Oh, he's trying to take it, but he ain't took it yet.
Fish on.
My husband, when we first got together, he took me fishing.
Fish on.
That's been 25 years ago.
Today on Outdoor Oklahoma, we revisit one of our most popular fishing shows as we go slip corking for channel cats with the Jones family on Lake Eufaula. From the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma.
Hi everybody, welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm coming to you today from Zoo Lake right here in Oklahoma City. It's one of our close to home fishing areas. We've got several of these around the state, and most of them, like Zoo Lake here, we stock periodically or even on an annual basis with a lot of channel catfish. And that's really what our show's about today, is how to go about catching channel catfish. And one of the most effective techniques that you can use for catching channel catfish from the bank is by slip corking. And we've got a great opportunity today to join really what I consider the first family of slip corking here in Oklahoma, the Jones family. We're going to join Charles, his wife Z, and their son CJ on Lake Eufaula. If you want to catch fish, make sure and watch this show on slip corking. It's a great technique. Let's go to Lake Eufaula right now.
Take it down. Easy. These tracks.
Now do these rocks move quite a bit?
Nah, they ain't too bad. They'll move though. Like I said, I started at a young age, my mom and dad taking me. And for the longest time, I really thought that my dad was pushing the fishing business, but it was actually my mom really pushing us to fish more, so much. She wanted to go just as much as my dad wanted to go. And I didn't find that out until after my dad had passed. But now I know that my mom enjoyed fishing just as much as he did. And then what it have done, it's been it passed down to our generation with our kids, you know. Our kids love to fish. My wife loves to fish. Most fishermen don't have that privilege to have their wife out there fishing with them, and that's something that I do, and I appreciate it. Not only my wife, but my family as well. I have a companion that I can fish with, you know, and that loves to go fishing with me. And if not that, my son will go fishing with me. And here in a little bit, my mama, she'll be gearing up to go fishing as well with me, because she's still fishing. She's I'd say her age, but she's 82 right now, but she still gets out here and fish. The reason she ain't with us today is probably because of these rocks. I don't think her body let her come down on these rocks. So, but we have places that we'll be able to fish where she'll be able to fish later on and fish with us. But for us family, man, it's something that I really enjoyed, and it's something that I really appreciate, and I really don't take it for granted, you know, because many families don't have a chance to get out and do something like that all of them enjoy doing.
The thing I love about catfishing so much is it takes a lot of patience. But in the time you're waiting to get a hit, it builds so much anticipation, because you never know what size fish you're going to catch. Could be from 2 pounds to 20 pounds, especially out here.
I don't crappie fish really that much because it's too cold when they go crappie fishing. I mostly like fishing in the summertime when it's hot. I like to sit out in the sun. There you go. Oh, come on, take it, baby. I like to sit out in the sun and catfish. Oh, he's trying to take it, but he ain't took it yet.
Fish on.
My husband, when we first got together, he took me fishing.
Fish on.
That's been 25 years ago. My first fishing reel he bought for me. He taught me how to fish, and I've been fishing ever since.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's that monster bait.
before we got married. And then when we had the kids, we kept on fishing. Oh man, this one. When we got married, when we had the kids, we took the kids, started taking the kids fishing when they was babies. Take them right out there on the lake, put them in their stroller, and they fished right along with us. So we've been fishing for a long time together. Fished with him, his dad, and his mom. And then his brothers and a couple of his sisters like to fish too. Worms or minnows or anything. All I use is a punch bait. Punch bait is a bait. All you use is a plain 3-way treble hook. You take your stick, any size stick, and you punch that hook off into that bait real good, and you pull it out at an angle. Stink bait, you have to have some kind of sponge or worm, sponge worm, something to dip it into. And with stink bait, you dip it every 15 to 20 minutes. Punch bait, you don't normally have to dip it nothing but one time until that fish mess with it. And then you'll re-dip again. A lot of times when you bring it in, it's bait left on the hook. And you don't have to really re-dip it, you can throw it back out there, but I always like to refresh my bait on my hook.
And these corks right here, they're called slip corks. And they're all handcrafted, homemade out of cedar wood. You really can't beat them when it comes to drifting these rocks. They keep your bait up off the bottom. Now the way it works, this is a slip knot. That's a pre-tied knot. It slides up and down your line. That sets your depth. However deep you have this set is how deep you're gonna fish. Next you put on your bead, then you put on your slip cork. After that you have your weight, which helps hold the slip cork up, and your bait on the bottom. When you throw out there, that cork's gonna slide all the way up till it hits that knot, and it's gonna stand straight up in the water, just like that. So when the fish comes through, you're gonna know it because he's just gonna take it under. When he takes it under, that's it, you set the hook. Some of the advantages of slip corks is with them being so slender, they're really aerodynamic, so you can cast them out a long ways if you want. They just zip out there. Another thing about them is they're real sensitive to when the fish strikes it because, you know, there's not much to it. With the regular bobbers that are about that big or so, they have to pull on it real hard for it to go down. These, they don't have any problems taking it at all. One of the main things that helps when we're fishing these rocks is, say we're drifting along these rocks, a lot of times you'll get snagged up in those rocks. Now when you bring your line in, your line's gonna slide up to the cork and come right across the top of the water like that, keeping you from getting hung up in those rocks. But that's about all it is to it. And you can't beat them. I wouldn't want to catfish any other way. I don't even catfish on the bottom.
Today. This is called slip corking. First, I'll talk about my rod and reel. This is a 10-foot rod. We use anywhere from 10 to 8-foot rod. This here is around about a Predator here. And as you see, it's not the newest reel of all, but it still works. Also, I use a medium action reel that I use on here, and it's been through a few fish itself. So, and my test line that I use on here is 17-pound test is what I use on here. And all I do to start off with, I don't have nothing on here to start off, nothing. The first thing you want to do is put on a bobber stopper. That's what we call a slip knot. And it's real simple. All you do is take your line and you run it through just like that. You pull that through, you pull the red off, put it down, and you pull these strings right here together, just like that, till you get them tight. Once you get it tight, I kind of test it and see how tight it is. Because the reason for having it tight, if you start catching these fish in about 5 foot of water, you want to stay at 5 foot. You don't want it to slide and move by itself. You want to be able to move it. So once you get it where you want it, then you want to clip these extra pieces. So I always keep a pair of scissors or a knife with me, and I clip off the extra, just like that. I leave a little bit on there to pull, because sometimes it'll come loose or it'll loosen up a little bit. So if you pull on one of these, it'll tighten it right back up. So first, we got our slip knot, and now we need something to keep this cork from going through that slip knot, and that's what we use. That's when we use a bead. I have beads here, and all I do is I slide my bead on next on my line, just like that. Then you take your slip cork, and you take what we call the pretty end, you run it through first. That first eye, from the top, first eye to the back eye. Just like that. You got that on just like that. Now we need something to stand that cork up, because it ain't gonna stand up by itself. So what we do, we take a weight. I use a slip weight, or what they call an egg weight. This is a 3/8 ounce weight. Usually it'll stand this cork right up. So what we do is we slide the weight on. Next. Just like that. And then we need something to keep all of this on. So what I do is I cut me a little leader line off, because I'm gonna use this other end. So I take my scissors and I cut the leader line off like that. And then I tie a swivel on. You can use any kind swivel. The main thing you want to do is hold this. This knot is just a regular knot. I call it a CJ's knot. Just twist it about 5 or 6 times. You run your line through there, through that loop. If I can get it, yep. And then you wet it, and then you pull it, cinch it down just like that. That holds all of this on, just like that. Now you need something to put your hook on. That line that we cut off earlier, that's it right there. That's a leader line. I tie it on the other end. Take it like that. And I twist it, same way, same knot, CJ's knot, 5 or 6 times. Run it through this eye. If I can get it right there. Run it through just like that. Wet it. And pull it. You have a leader line. Now you want that leader line to be about 8 to 10 inches, so I'm gonna cut some of this off. And I take my hook. It's a number 4 treble hook. It's what I'm using today. I use anywhere from 8, 6 to 4. The reason I have these different size hooks, because sometimes them fish don't take that big hook. It could be a big fish, but sometimes he just won't take that big hook. So sometimes I keep smaller hooks in there just in case. But today we're using number 4. So I'm gonna tie that 4 on like this, same knot. That's CJ's knot. You can see it right here. I twist about 6 or 7 times. Take that, loop it through, wet it. So right here, you got your slip knot, bobber stopper, that slides, that you can adjust the depth how you want to fish. You can fish 5 foot, 10 foot, it doesn't matter. As long as you got that knot will go all the way into the reel and also into the rod. I mean, go into the rod and also into the reel. So it won't get hung up. You got your bead, you got your cork, your weight, your swivel, and your hook. Now you're ready to fish. Now the difference between this punch bait and sponge bait or dip bait is all you need is a treble hook. You never have to touch it with your hand. You just punch it off in there, pull it out with an angle, and it's on there. You never touch it. So you use a stick with this the same way, but you never have to touch this bait. I remember years ago when we used to fish half in the lake, we used to go up there on the dam, and we know a little bit about slip corking, but we didn't know that whole much about it. You know, we didn't get started slip corking until later on. When my dad started slip corking. But I know that we would go out there
right now,
and we'll be fishing off the dam, and we used to watch them older guys now.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them have passed on now, but a few of them are still around. And we used to watch them slip cork off the dam, and we'd be up there talking to them, and they would never turn around and look at us. And we couldn't understand why. We just thought, oh man, this guy here is rude. He don't like us and all that. But that wasn't the case. It's the same way with now. When you're slip corking, you have to watch that cork. You don't hardly have time to be turning around and looking and talking to people. You want to keep your eyes on that cork at all times, because the key part to it is watching it. Because he could take it under in a second, and he'll take it under and sometimes let it go, and you'll never know you got a bite. And sometimes he'll take it under and you'll feel him hit it and still miss it. So the key deal is to keep your eyes on the cork. Watch the cork at all times. Every once in a while you can look around and see what's going on around you, but most of the time you're keeping your eyes on that cork. And that's the thing. That's what makes a good slip corker a good slip corker, is by watching that cork.
Is he little or big? Huh? Oh, he is beating me in fishing. He done caught him another one. A nice keeper. Yeah, he got him a good mess. He's in my spots, you know that. He's got a nice stringer. Yeah.
We had been buying bait from a lady at the time named Miss Jordan. That's how my dad and them got started in it. But what happened was she got up in age where she wasn't able to make bait anymore. So she stopped making bait. So we had to find a decent bait to fish with. And it wasn't, we tried different baits, a few baits here and there. Some of them is out there still on the market right now today. But you know, they really wasn't satisfying. But before that, I had tried to make some bait, and it didn't come out successful. So I stopped. But then when I went over to this friend's house, he started telling me a little bit about it. And when he told me a little bit about it, then I started paying attention to it. And then I went home and I tried it. And that's what we did. I tried it, and it came out right. And when I started using it, just me and my family started using it, and we started catching fish on it. And then really the successful part of it was when my dad started using it. When my dad and mom started asking for it, I knew I had some good bait then.
Well, didn't do too bad today. Barely hold them up. We caught these on that CJ's Crawdad punch bait. Got some nice ones in there too.
Well, boy, that slip corking technique is a great way to fish off the bank, catch a mess of catfish. I've known the Jones family for nearly 30 years, went to high school with Z. It's great to see them still enjoying a day of fishing together. Hopefully you got some great information on how you can go use that technique to catch some catfish. You know, speaking of catfish, we have about 13 species of catfish here in Oklahoma. 7 of those are little tiny Mad Tom catfish, 3 or 4 inches long. You'd never catch one on a rod and reel. But there are some other species that you would catch on a rod and reel, and really there's what I call the big 3 catfish species here in Oklahoma. Those are going to be the channel catfish, which you saw being caught today, the blue catfish, and the flathead. Well, how do you tell those 3 different kinds of fish, catfish apart? The very first thing you want to look at is the tail. If it's got a forked tail, then it's going to be either a channel catfish or a blue catfish. A blunt tail is going to be primarily a flathead. Now, it could be a bullhead catfish. We have 3 species of bullheads here in Oklahoma, but really, for all intents and purposes, the types of fish that you're going to probably catch on a rod and reel is going to be one of those 3 species. Look at the tail. That's going to tell you if it's a channel or blue catfish, a blunt tails, a flathead. How do you tell apart the blue from the channel catfish? Well, look at the anal fin. An anal fin on a blue catfish is straight and it's curved on a channel catfish. Those are some fish identification tips you can use next time you go out. I want to thank you all for watching. Please join us here each and every week on Outdoor Oklahoma.